Yo guys, what's going on? It's Ryuga with another Dead by Daylight discussion video. Now, before we get into it, I am going to leave some timestamps in the description because I want to talk about, why I haven't been posting videos and all that jazz. So I'm going to put a timestamp to when the discussion begins, but if you want to hang out and listen to, why I haven't been actually posting videos recently, feel free to hang out as well. So, to jump into it, we haven't been able to post a lot of videos because right now, as you guys know, with the whole coronavirus and all that jazz, people are kind of freaking out. Not a lot of people are employed. But retail, however, is in pretty much like a state of chaos. And I am one of those lucky retail workers. I do work at Walmart. And I enjoy my job, but right now, there's not a lot of people working. So I am working a lot of hours, probably like 55, 60 hours every week. So I have not had time to come home and stream. I haven't had time to make videos. I haven't even really had time to sleep. So right now, that's kind of where the situation lies. I'm not on hiatus. I'm just overwhelmed, working a lot, just taking advantage of all these extra hours that are laying around, working overtime. So whenever everything returns back to normal, hopefully I'll be able to start pumping out videos again for you guys. But if some of you were curious, that's why. I still do have my days off, so I'm going to try to stream on those days. So if you're not following me on Twitch, go ahead and do so. That link will also be down in the description. But yeah, if you guys want to reach me, I am in my Discord, so I post all these updates and all that jazz in there. Other than that, let's go ahead and jump into this discussion. So if you've already read the title, you're going to know what this discussion is going to be about. So I want to talk about why I dislike a lot of the larger Dead by Daylight content creators. But I want you to remember that these are all my thoughts and my opinions. So don't take any of this to heart or punch me in the dick. Alright. So this is probably a touchy topic for some people because with their army of supporters, some get defensive when called out. So for this reason, I'm not mentioning any names. It's just going to be more of a broad discussion. Although there might be examples where you specifically know who I'm talking about. I'm still not going to mention names, and I would like you to keep it that way in the comments, please. The Dead by Daylight community is pretty tight-knit, and we have a lot of different content creators that push out creative and interesting content. Now, ever since the dedicated servers and the DC penalty, I've been slowly starting to dislike a few of these content creators. When you play a game as a creator, you play to have fun and you provide entertainment to your audience. But now a lot of gameplay has turned into complaining, and this leads to my first point, which involves these creators. Thanks for the follow, even though I'm not offline. But involves a lot of these creators talking down to the developers. So one thing we should always be grateful for are the game's developers. Without them, this fun and addicting game wouldn't be here. However, a lot of larger content creators are constantly complaining. And at this point, it's become even a meme to mention the devs anytime the slightest thing goes wrong, such as getting hit through windows, pallets, slight lag in the game, even a random spawn of certain loops in windows. Now, I can understand getting frustrated at the developers, but the constant beratement of the devs by larger content creators set an example to their audiences. And now all of your big fans and viewers have it in their mind that it's okay to bash the devs at the simplest error or any other slight inconvenience in the game. So here's the truth. Stop complaining and stop berating the devs. You are not a game developer. You don't know how to code and develop a game like this, nor do you know what it takes to manage a community as large as the Dead by Daylight community. Now, some fixes aren't as simple as people think, but they harass the developers over the smallest bug or the smallest mishap. But sometimes when you fix one thing, another thing breaks. And people try to say that other games out there don't have the same issue, when in reality, a lot of larger multiplayer games are still riddled with bugs, even if they're only minor. People need to be considerate about the dev team, and recently they've had a lot of success and have had a larger team working so they're able to address a lot more of these issues. Not everything in the game can be addressed and fixed at once, and it will take time. Another thing that I hear them say, for example, so I quote, "Hello, great chase music. I'm glad we got new chase music when there's..." Insert a bug about something that has nothing to do with the art team, music team, that even if they didn't make new chase music, nothing would be different. So let's get this straight, right? So the art and music team have not much, if anything, to do with a lot of these bugs in the game. So stop bringing up issues that are in different departments of the developer's team to justify your harassment of the developers for certain bugs not being fixed yet. And once again, this broadcasts to their entire audience who thinks it's okay to have a mindset like this. I understand that content creators can do whatever they want, and this is just my opinion, but I think that people should set examples, and the constant harassment of the developers has to stop. Now this leads me into the next issue, which centers around these creators blowing situations out of the water. So this is when I start talking about dedicated servers and DC penalties. This also loops back to developer harassment. A lot of these creators go out of their way when talking about DC penalties as if it's the most horrendous godforsaken change that could have possibly been made, and how it offers no gains and only harms players who are held hostage. Now we all know that's a load of shit, and you want to make reasons to DC against things you don't want to play, or if you go down too fast and make a dumb mistake. The fact is, the justification to remove DC penalties because, oh, what if I'm slugged out for 4 minutes, or what if I'm Mori spammed? It's complete over-exaggeration. These situations almost never happen. And even if it does, 1 DC is not going to get you banned for the entire day. Now, I know a lot of them just want to be able to DC with no penalties because they can't just play the game and lead by example. You know, the same things that they want to DC against, they alternate and do the same exact thing they do as Killer. Like, they'll do the same thing that they DC'd against on Killer. And I don't understand, why they do things like this. Another issue is when they talk about dedicated servers. Now, these creators constantly complain and blame the servers for almost every single issue, which I understand. Sometimes you have to vent your frustrations. But at this point in time, getting riled and screaming dedicated servers every time you get a questionable hit gets old. And you're once again broadcasting this to your whole community, who in turn complains and grumbles to the developers. OMG, hit through the pallets. Developers, God, you suck. When the fact of the matter is, you can even play around this. And I've been playing Survivor, and I don't get greedy. I don't throw a pallet that I know I'm going to get vacuumed backwards and hit in. Because I know that's just how the game is set up. I don't complain about the hitboxes or anything related. Because if you watch the dev stream and saw how latency affects both Killer and Survivor, you'd see on the Killer point of view that they are much closer to you than on a Survivor's point of view. And they're attempting to fix this with a player prediction, which was pretty successful in my opinion on the Dr. PTB. And yet people still blame hitboxes and scream at the developers when it's not even a hitbox issue, it's a latency issue. I really wish people would look into this. And honestly, stop, educate yourselves, and adjust your playstyle, or just stop playing and go create your own game if you think you can make it better than the developers can. So the next thing that I want to talk about that bothers me is how creators showcase game-breaking exploits. And yes, I'm talking about all of these new stupid, quote, techs. So the hook tech was in the game for a long time, and these people used it and showcased it, knowing that it would ruin the game and knowing that it was an exploit. And it shows their audience it's okay to do things like this. Just ruin the other side's experience, and then call them shit for face camping or something when you're hiding under the hook. And honestly, I'm really glad this exploit's gone. And now there's another one where you drop an item near the edge so you can teleport back after the killer downs you and falls with you. Breaking the game's mechanics to gain an advantage is not okay. And now I understand if the tech is something cool, for example, the CJ tech. It's not actually exploiting. Neither is the window tech. And neither was the Legion tech when you exited Frenzy when getting flashlighted. Broadcasting game-breaking exploits instead of just keeping quiet and sharing them with the devs is just not okay. Now, another issue I want to address are the certain playstyles that they show their community is okay. One example that comes off my head includes the light burning the Wraith bug. When he got light burned, he was still cloaked. So you could just burn him over and over and over and over again, and he could not leave his cloak. So you just keep burning them, and then when they get mad at you, you just say, well, just don't play the Wraith, this bug is active. No, how about you just don't exploit bugs? Another one is a content creator, for example. I ran into somebody there running Object of Obsession, constantly taunting and trying to run infinites against a Freddy, which, by the way, if you don't know, Object against Freddy in the Dream has 100% uptime, so you always see their aura. But then you instantly DC when he ignores you the whole game and then finally downs you, just because you're mad that you couldn't bully him and run him. It just shows an example to your community, just stop. And then, in front of an audience, base camp Insidious Bubba, and yet the team does all of the generators in your face, and then you lose a chase when you have Noad active, So then you just decide to DC. Again, all of these are just horrible examples to the community, and I just don't understand some of the actions of some of these larger content creators. Whew. Alright, so let's take a deep breath. Now I got all that off my chest. I just wanted to go on a rant. So, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about a little positivity. There are larger content creators that I look up to and I enjoy, and I think they do a fantastic job at doing like all of these things, right? So you have Otstarva, you have Tofu, people like these, they're wholesome. They try to make sure their community, doesn't have the wrong mindset, and they usually do the right thing. And then you have Scott Jund. A lot of people don't like him, but he plays fair. He tries to keep everybody in the right mindset as well. He may have his opinions, but he usually has a respectful conversation with all of these people. And bless him, I hope he gets better. I know he's struggling, but those are a lot of those content creators that I do look up to and I do like. And yeah, that's just where I want to leave it off. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the discussion. If you have anything to add, feel free to leave a comment below. Talk about your issues. Please try not to mention any names unless you're talking positive. Just, explain maybe things you don't like, things you wish they would change, certain things that you don't like that these creators, do. And yeah, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe, turn on notifications, join the Discord, follow me on Twitch, whatever the heck you want. Other than that, hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, evening, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you live, whenever you're watching. And I'll see you guys in the fog.
Thunder lightning, it was awfully exciting, but your words are so frightening, and my fist are now tightening.